Memorable. Ryan, start us off. I heard you didn't like the song.
Memorable. It was a pretty amazing love letter to the fans and to what the continued support and love that the band receives. Just a confirmation of that. Like as fans of BAND-MAID, I think one of the unique things about this band is how much they willingly show how much they actually appreciate the fans, and they've done it now with 3 pretty amazing songs directed at us, and thanking us for their support and keeping them going. And they're much like us, they're continually surprised with what the support we give them, and we think they should just expect it because of course we're going to do it, but we're continually surprised with the quality of music they keep putting out. So it's kind of it's a cyclical thing, man. They keep giving us what we need and want, and we give them the same thing back, and just one kind of feeds the other. So I got a little emotional while watching the video, and from comments, a lot of people did, and I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I cry every day, bro.
Oh yeah, man. But I mean, for me, if I'm in my video, I mentioned how, I've talked about how they have been an impact on my life in a way that, more than just good music, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't really for them. Initially there was, Nightwish was a big part of that too, but BAND-MAID gave me a reason to travel across the country and meet lots of people. And these are things that I wouldn't have really thought about doing, a year and a half ago. And, it's just kind of a crazy thing to think that, that kind of thing can happen, and you can bring people together just by being an honest musician. And just being, it's like, the example they said is an example that many should follow, I think.
Yeah. It is just really cool that they did another fan song. I will say, like, About Us, I definitely like way more. I definitely like this song for more reasons than the song itself, if that makes sense. Like, it's a good song. I probably, if I wasn't a fan of the band, I wouldn't like it. But since I'm such a huge fan of the band now and been to those concerts like you were talking about, Ryan, and seeing the love and support, there's like an added weight to it. There's definitely a lot more behind it in a sentimental kind of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's really, like, the fact that they would write a song that they know really isn't going to appeal to a wide audience. It's not going to attract new fans.
Exactly what I was going to point out. Yeah.
But they give it to the existing fans because they appreciate them so much, even though it's really not going to do much for them, but it does make the relationships with their existing fans stronger and makes us appreciate how much they appreciate us. Like, basically Psyche talking about how she loves, she dreams about looking out in the audience and seeing people smile when they're playing music. At least that's what I got from it. And it's like, what other band has written so many, like, multiple songs like this that, again, aren't gonna, because most bands will be thinking about, what can I do to get more people's attention and get bigger? But they're thinking, like, what can I do to have a closer relationship with the fans we already have?
Yeah, and I'm sure they're thinking that too, but they're taking a break to do that. They're still taking the time to establish and reinforce the fan base, right?
Yeah.
It's a great point, man. As I was going to say, it's not, I don't think well, I don't know. The way Konami writes, I think she just, the way she writes, I think appeals to a lot of people, and she doesn't intend, careful what I'm saying here. I know she writes with intent of making just an obligatory good song. Not necessarily, I want this to be on the radio, but just a good song overall. And then this is something that I don't think was written with that intent so much as what Wave is alluding to, is just regardless of how it plays on Spotify or whatever, it's going to be a song for the fans. And that was the concern, which is what makes it so special.
Yeah.
This was the first BAND-MAID song that I listened to for the first time that I really didn't pay attention to the music in the background that much, where I was like solely focused on the lyrics, which just never, if you know me, that never happens. I never really pay attention to the lyrics over the music. Sometimes I'll listen to a song 100 times and I have no idea what it's about. I'm all about the music, you know. But this one, I couldn't even tell you what's going on musically, because every time that I've listened to it, I've just been focused on listening to it. And I love how, like, especially the chorus, as Wave alluded to earlier, was that what's that final line that she says? Like, she dreams of seeing you smile. I think I dream of seeing you smile.
Mm-hmm.
They like bookend the chorus. So it starts out, the first line is about how she is understanding that we have love for her, and then
That's amazing.
she finishes the chorus by telling us how important it is that she shows her love for us, you know. So it really felt like it kind of came full circle. Like, here is this, I know I've finally come to accept that you guys love me. I've listened to your calls, and I believe you. Like, you guys love us, and now we need you to know how much we love you also. And especially, like, you know, the final line of the song, I think it's something like she says, I dream of a world where this could be the case, where, like, she could always continuously see us smiling, you know. And that, I feel like that's really heartfelt. It's wholesome, it's heartfelt, and it makes you feel like it's worth it, you know. Like our support is not going unnoticed, and they appreciate us. And I didn't ever need them to really appreciate us, to love them as a band, but the fact that they do just makes it a million times better.
Yeah.
So I love the song. Just I could just read the lyrics and love it. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like she sent that as a letter.
Probably.
You're just gonna love it, right? Sorry, Wave. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. Man, I mean, you guys said it so well. Just like, okay, so the first time I watched it, I was mostly just reading the lyrics like you guys, but then when I watched Ryan's reaction, that's when it really hit me, and that's when I teared up, and I was like, holy crap, because you broke it down so well, and just seeing the emotion on your face. By the way, if you haven't seen it yet, you can see Ryan cry. And then I watched Champ's reaction, and he was on the edge of tears too, you know. And just watching both of your reactions really got to me. Alan, did you post yours yet?
I didn't post it because I didn't feel like I said anything of importance. So, like, it just turned into me just walking off camera, and I was kind of embarrassed about the whole thing. I was reacting to it with Tina, and it just hit me too. It was like one of those moments I'm like, I had to leave, so Eric and Tina were just sitting there, and I felt horrible, so I didn't post it. I didn't feel like I offered anything of value that you guys had already said, so I just didn't post it. I was just like, but I did it live. I did watch it and stuff, but yeah.
But you liked it.
I did like. I loved it.
You weren't actually. Yeah. Wave, Ryan and I, we were. Unfortunately, you got booted from the stream when we heard it the first time when we watched it at the Tokyo Garden show.
Yeah.
And we're like kind of surprised by it, right? And we kind of felt what it was about without even knowing the lyrics, you know, like without, like, we were kind of talking about, like, we felt that there was some kind of message that was, like, really important coming out of that song, you know. So it was really cool to finally get out and, like, see the video of it. But, like, you didn't get to have that initial experience, Alan, because you got screwed over by the internet, unfortunately. But so this was really the first time that you had heard it, right?
No, I had watched Tokyo Garden Theater afterwards, and I learned how to play the song, so I know how to play it and stuff. And
okay.
Yeah, so I heard it, and the live, it was interesting because my first time hearing Memorable was the studio version, because I was just listening to it in passing. Because I knew I wasn't gonna do a reaction. I was like, I've heard it already, I'm not gonna film a reaction. I'd listened to it, I didn't like tear up. I heard in passing, I'm like, oh, I think I like the live version better. and I still think I do like the live lead that Konami did better. It feels different to me, but
It is. I haven't watched the live one again because I thought it was different too when I was watching the video. I'm like, this sounds different.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing it.
And then
I don't even remember the lead at all.
When I sat down and listened to it with Eric and Tina, I was like, that was my first, I guess I could react to it because I was like, this is my first time hearing the polished version, you know? And I really love that they focus on Psyche's vocals a lot. Like, it's really good. And Eric and I will say this all the time from Dichotic. We're like, Psyche's amazing when she's on top of acoustic. She sounds good, of course, over all the music, but for me, she shines on acoustic settings. The acoustic album is one of my favorite albums. Like, that's the album if I want to like listen to Psyche like shine, I feel like that's such a great album to listen to. Like, you can relate. It's just so awesome. That album is so good. I still like listening to that one to this day. Even more.
She gets to play with her vocals a lot more when it's kind of slowed down in acoustic, and like when it's faster, it's like she's got to keep up pace with the rest of the instruments, right? But here, it's like she gets to experiment a little bit more with what she's doing, and I think that you could see way more of what she's capable of.
Yeah.
No, I gotta say, man, with the music in it, it's not getting a lot of love, and I don't understand why. Nobody's saying it's bad. Trust me, I know that. But I found this with Start Over. I was listening to a track of that with the vocals stretched away, and I was going to jam to it a little bit, and it's got so much groove in it, and there's some really cool stuff going on. And memorable, I think, as I was listening to it, the Misa, of course, because she's a insane freaking genius, was just what she does it's just always, to me, it always seems like she's leading you from one place to another, and this one it seemed like she was kind of pushing you from one place to the other. Whatever, I don't know how to really explain it, but and then Akane, lays back at the beginning, and then at some point she's like, time to do what I fucking do. It just puts in these crazy ass fills in this freaking ballad where they have no business being, but it sounds incredible. Like,
that's
the songwriting just overall, it's never show offy, but it comes across like, what are you doing? You have no business doing that in the song, but it works. And the solo was nuts, man. To me, it seems like, I don't know.
You said it the best. You said it sounded like a puppy that's waiting to be let off a leash, is what you said in your reaction.
Right.
And I thought
can't contain themselves.
They can't contain themselves.
Flip out and jump around.
That's such a great description.
So thanks to you, I pictured a puppy while I was watching it. As soon as the solo started off, immediately I thought of that. I'm like, it does sound like that.
So I'm gonna look back at the song without Psyche's amazing vocals and see what's going on there, and it's always another world.
The chord progression is very interesting. I like the chord progression. It was a fun song to play. Like, it's very interesting. So I don't think it's like basic by any means. I wasn't a fan of the recorded solo. I get what you're saying, Ryan, and I'll listen to it anyways. I feel like the solo was better live. I don't know why. I thought that one sounded fit it better.
I want to say why I love that solo. Okay, because that was the one
you thought of
part music
puppies.
that I didn't even consider the puppy part. But I really I thought that. Okay, so I kind of compared it to Daydreaming, right after I heard it, because Daydreaming is a slower song, right? But then when that solo comes in, it comes in like a freight train, right? Like just boom, and it hits you in the face. But there's a different message though, right? This song was so sort of like, I didn't think it would feel appropriate to do too much craziness. So Konami kind of going back and forth from this one sort of stretched out note to keep that same vibe that was going through the rest of the song before that. It's like one note, and then she does a couple quick notes, and then one longer note again. And I felt like what that did was it allowed the song to maintain the vibe that it had beforehand without, she still threw in those couple notes that were like really quick and fast and fun to listen to, but those elongated, stretched out beginning of each phrase notes is what I felt like kept it in the vein of the rest of the song. And I loved that. I thought that it emotionally resonated with me like the rest of the song did because of the way that it was formulated around it. So I've heard better solos from Konami, like just technically speaking. But if we're talking about like how well did it fit what we were listening to right there, I thought it was like 100, like 100 out of 100.
You thought
Like,
I see. I didn't
the
think it fit.
placement.
I didn't think it fit as well, but it did break up the song to give it a different dynamics, and that's why I like it, because it is different from the rest of the song. It's like all this, like Ryan said it the best. I can't say it better than that. So it's like it was the way that you said it, Ryan, was perfect. I like it for the
Thank you.
I like it for the fact that it breaks up the song. It's like, cool, you're sad, you're emotional because of what the song means. And then you're like, hey, we're badass, though. You know what I mean? Like, and they like.
See what you're saying? I didn't get that impression at
And
all.
then-
Though. Like, I didn't feel like the solo was. Like,
They didn't go with a
badass.
ballad solo. Like, that's
I
interesting.
thought that was as ballady as like a band.
Not at all. I don't know. To me, that was not
What's a
typical
more
ballad.
ballady BAND-MAID solo? Like even in their slow songs, they like Daydreaming. She shreds like a beast in it. You know what I mean? But this one at least like wasn't the whole time. It was only half the time. He was doing that.
I missed the piano from the Tokyo Garden Theater version, surfing a song wave. I agree. I wish that piano was in there. I do.
Same.
Um,
I thought the solo was genius. Like the way, because it wasn't a guitar solo, it was an instrumental section. Because Akane had such an impact on the way that guitar solo came across. She's literally doing drum fills the entire time during the solo.
yeah, she is.
Really bolstering what Konami's doing. And I agree with Champ, the way Konami eased into the solo, but she did licks to go along with the drums. And then the way she eased out of the solo, the and then it's silence. I just thought that was genius composition because like it made a lot of guitar solos just the guitar showing off. But this was an instrumental section that, it was like a movement in a classical piece of music,
You know what it
love
made
it.
me think of? It made me think of Atabana from Nemophila, where it's like they have this breakdown section where the solo is not their craziest solo ever, but because everything is working together to create like this kind of new sound in the section,
Yeah, man.
it all
Yeah,
felt
that's a good
really
point.
cool.
Yeah. I love that bands are doing especially the bands we've been watching are doing that now, where it's not just they keep playing the same four chords they were through the whole song and the guitar solo goes over it. Like every part is composing their parts around the guitar solo.
Yeah, it's pretty
such a cool
pretty
feature.
cool, man.
Those are always the best solos, I think. Like, it's so cool to change up
Me
the
too.
rhythm, There's a lot of classic bands that used to do that, like out of the 70s, 80s. They would always do that. They always change up the back behind solos, and it kind of like disappeared in the 90s, like, and 2000s, where like all of a sudden it was just like, let's take the chorus and play the chorus again and do the solos.
Wasn't cool to play guitar anymore.
Yeah. I took
So-
inspiration from this actually. Sorry to plug myself real quick, but I
Whoa,
made my last
Whoa.
original song.
She said.
phrasing.
Phrasing, for sure.
But my last
Sorry.
original song, Paola Prison, like
Yeah.
I ended up redoing the entire instrumental section under the guitar solo after I recorded it,
Nice.
and rewrote each part to like go along with the guitar solo. So there's like 6 different sections of the guitar solo, and it's all different styles of music, pretty much. But I was listening to it, and I was like, man, this sucks. And I was like, what would BAND-MAID do? And so I just like tried to build that around it. And maybe it's a little too erratic and like changing theme too much, but just the fact that this band has inspired me so much to push myself more creatively and not just settle with something because it was easy at the time just really makes me happy, that because I was in such a musical rut before I heard BAND-MAID,
Yeah. Wave, another cool thing to do is write music to, like, you come up with the vocal melodies first before having any music at all. That's always fun. It's kind of like the same idea with the solos, I think. Like, that's why I think it's fun with the solos. Like, you need to put the rhythms behind it. Because then you're, like, changing it like crazy, and it sounds so cool. And, like, you guys said it, memorable, it definitely does that for the lead.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know if a lot of people realize how much songs evolve during the recording process.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's a composition, you know, that you come with a demo, but then when everybody starts like working on it and changing their parts and changing things up in the studio, once they hear what it's going to sound like when it's done, and then it evolves and gets perfected, and it's like, it's such a huge process rather than just, okay, they just start playing and that's the song, you know?
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
my experience.
I mean, sometimes when you hear the recording back, you're just like, wow, how did I think that worked? You know, like, it seemed so cool in my head, and then you actually hear the playback, and you're just like, what the fuck was I thinking, bro?
Hey,
Like,
sometimes you're like, oh, that's better than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time though, I found that like I'll be recording something and I'll just be like, you know, I think I'll think too much in the writing process, right? Like I'll just be in my brain trying to like make these minuscule changes that I think are going to be really cool. When in reality, it would sound good if I just went dun 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 dun. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, sometimes simpler is way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found myself as if I'm writing a song or whatever, and similar thing, what would BAND-MAID do? But then I'm like, you know what? That's not the way I write.
Right.
Now, it's not to say you can't, you know, take inspiration from them and utilize that. And I have, you know, small changes and stuff, but you can definitely get yourself dug into a musical hole trying to pull off shit that they do.
Oh,
And especially if you're like me, where you're a guy that's really good at writing like blues that just repeats the same shit over and over and soloing over that and making it sound interesting. When you start changing other shit, it's like, oh, now I got to change this, and then you just don't finish the project. Is what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a domino effect.
I do need to add,
Nope.
I'm like, what would BAND-MAID do if they sucked like I do? So I'm right within my
Whoa.
capabilities.
Phrasing again.
Full of phrasing.
God damn, Wave, you're on a roll.
Oh my gosh. Can we put the starting screen back on?
I was about to say, like, that's why I love sending stuff to you, Ryan, though, because you have like the blues background. Be like, hey man, what do you think about this melody? And then you're like, oh, you think of some melody outside the box. That's super helpful in bands.
Nice.
And I think with these bands that are really good, I have a feeling with Nemophil and BAND-MAID more specifically, I think they really work within each other to do different styles, you know, or like kind of blend it. They're just really good at blending different ways of doing things, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear a blues line in the lyrics, right? A lot of vocals are in a blues phrasing most of the time. Actually, they'll take out those other notes, right, over like minor scale.
Pick out the 2 and the 6.
Yeah, exactly, and just play that pen. I mean, and that's always a good way to do it because it's going to be catchy, you know. It's always awesome.
Then when you do throw in a 2 or a 6, it sounds weird and fun.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Or just like turn it or flat or sharper to make the harmonic minor or something like that randomly, and you're like, what? That always throws it. That still gets me when I hear a song. All of a sudden, I hear a random chord go outside. I'm like, oh, I heard that.
Konami does that a lot. Like,
Like every song they've ever written.
yeah. Dang. Yeah.
For more Gaijin goodies like you just saw, be sure to subscribe to the Gaijin Guys podcast and turn on all notifications to be part of the live stream every Sunday. You can also find us wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, etc. You can find even more exclusive content and reactions on our Patreon, patreon.com/Gaijin Guys. I'll see you there. Adios.